Hey folks, well, it seems Microsoft, they saw that everything was going well. Their return for their business was actually doing surprisingly well. Their end of year, well, their third quarter earnings call was actually surprisingly good for Xbox. So they said, you know what, things are going a bit too well, so hold my beer, let's fix that. And of course, Jez Corden today broke massive news with price hikes for Xbox, and this is kind of depressing because it just didn't need to happen. At a time when Sony is increasing their prices left, right, and center, and Nintendo has gone completely AWOL with their stuff, Microsoft just didn't need to do this. They could have just sat back, did nothing, and actually garnered the goodwill, and actually would have brought in potentially way more people into their ecosystem. But instead, they've decided to go the complete opposite route. Now, this article is written by Jez Corden, but as you can see, these prices are staggering. $429.99 for a 1TB Series S. That's crazy money. That's crazy. And the highest Series X goes for $729.99. You're looking at accessory prices 64, 70, 80, 90, 150, 200. And that's for the Elite. It's crazy, but let's go down to the actual UK pricing, because that's where I'm at. And you can see that the Series S is $300, and 1TB version is $349.99. Digital Series X is $449.99. $500 for a Series X. I think I bought mine for $399. $449 at launch with the actual game that came with it. I can't remember what it was, but $589.99 for the Galaxy Edition. This isn't it, Chief. This isn't it. New Xbox accessories, £60 for controllers, Xbox wireless controller 65. A special edition version is $75. Limited edition is $75 again. $125 for the core and $169 for the actual full Series S. Well, full Series 2 with the paddles and stuff. This pricing is astronomically bad, and it's come at a time where Microsoft had everything going for them. They're doing so great, but of course Nintendo opened Pandora's box. So I'm going to blame Nintendo more than anyone else for this, because they're the ones that did this. At the same time, I know the tariffs are going to have something to do with this, so that probably has some blame in this as well. But the reality is, this just wasn't the time for this. And there's also talks that, later on in the year, Microsoft is looking to increase games to $80. That's probably going to be when Call of Duty lands. It makes the most sense to have COD at 80, or maybe they're going to do the variable pricing that Nintendo keeps talking about, because variable pricing is quite dangerous, right? You play the game longer, you get it for free. But of course, there's no talk about Game Pass, and we'll probably hear if Game Pass is going to get a price increase over the next few days. Hopefully it doesn't, because I think if everything else is increasing, this could inadvertently work to make Game Pass look even more lucrative. But knowing Microsoft, they'll probably look at it and go, whoa, that actually benefits us. Let's double down and increase that price as well, which I think is absolutely silly. But we're in a position right now where, as the industry is continuing, things are supposed to get cheaper, not more expensive, and it's getting crazy. And this now creates a kind of dysphoria about what's going to happen when the next generation consoles drop. I'm referring to the Xbox Next or Prime or whatever you want to call it, and the PlayStation 6. If anyone thinks that these consoles are going to be below £800, you're delusional. These consoles are going to be expensive, and at that point, the hobby that we had, for video games, is going to go downhill. The number of people that are going to buy these consoles is going to drop drastically. And if the cloud infrastructure just isn't up to par and people's internet isn't up to snuff, then cloud gaming won't be an option either for people to stay gaming. New hobbies are going to have to be found. And then what's going to happen then? If less people are buying consoles, less people are buying games, that means that the prices are going to have to go up again. And this is a nasty spiral that could really get out of hand and actually kill gaming entirely. This is something that obviously none of us want. And I'm not saying that this is Microsoft's fault. Microsoft is just following the trend. And whatever, whoever's the first to increase the price, just like we saw with 2K, they increased the games to £70, everyone else followed. The same thing happened here with Nintendo. At the end of the day, you're seeing that no one is actually going above that $80 price, because that's the standard that Nintendo set. Now, if GTA comes out and sets that standard to 100, give it time, and then the next games that come out will be $100, because they're just going to follow. It just takes one to do it. But these prices just are crazy, right? They're not even entertainable at this point. When you're looking at that price, can you like the PS5 Pro, albeit it is a digital, is the same price as the Series X, and they get Xbox games and PlayStation games. Is Microsoft actually trying to kind of push themselves out of the console market? Is this what they're trying to do? I genuinely don't know, because they could have just done nothing and this would have been the greatest W for them. But instead, they've decided that they're going to go down a different approach and raise prices. And the shoddy thing, not shoddy, but the shady thing is that this comes literally a day after their quarter 3 earnings call, where their stock prices went up. This comes a day after that, so they don't have to explain to their shareholders in the immediate interim. This came a day after, so this is basically going to see how quarter 4 reacts. And these prices are supposed to increase in May, from what I understand. I don't know, man. This is just not right on so many levels. Now, I called out Sony when they were increasing their price. I called out Nintendo. And I'm damn well going to call out Xbox when this happens. I think it's wrong. I think it's just absolutely... even the controllers. All of them have increased by roughly about £5. This used to be £45. Now it's, it's a stark increase to £60. It's unacceptable. At a time when the economy is kind of in the shite, people can't afford to buy, people can't afford to pay for hobbies and luxury goods. So the one way you want to get people to spend more money in your games is to make them more expensive. There's a reason why more and more people are going for free-to-play games, because they're free to play. And yes, I know there's the whole gacha system or the battle pass and the monetization that goes with free-to-play, but you can fully play them and enjoy them free-to-play. And this is why free-to-play games are just pushing ahead, because generally they're multi-platform. You can play them anywhere you want, whether it's on your mobile, on your PC, on your console, on your tablet, wherever you want. You could just hook up a controller and off you go. But there is no justifying what Microsoft has done here. Now, people, like I said, are saying that, this is just because of the tariffs. I really don't care. This wasn't the easiest W Microsoft could have won by just not doing anything. All they had to do was do nothing, and they would have got one of the biggest Ws. But instead, they needed to double down and say, hold my beer and do this. I don't know. I think it's just so wrong. If anyone is actually defending these price hikes, I'd love to hear why you are defending these. Before you say Game Pass, don't forget, you're looking at 500 plus the additional 175 on top of that for Game Pass. You're already looking at $700 there. And yes, I know you're getting a wealth of games within that $700, but still, these prices are supposed to go down to make it more lucrative. We are in year 4 or 5 now. I think it's year 5 of the console's generation, and prices are still increasing. This is... what? Just what? I don't know, man. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. This is crazy. I did not see this. But let's see what happens with Game Pass, because it really wouldn't surprise me at this point if Microsoft turned around and said, right, we're increasing the cost of Game Pass. I hope they don't, and I hope that these increases are done, well, is enough to keep Game Pass at the cost it actually is. Or I can see a lot of people actually saying, you know what, at $30, at that point a month, I think it's not, I'm going to look elsewhere. And I'll just buy the games on sale if I have to. Or go to a second-hand store and buy the games there. In which case, none of these publishers get any money at all. I don't know. This is, I saw this. This was posted like an hour or so after I actually released my video. And all I can say is just, wow. This was not on my bingo card for Microsoft to do. This was definitely just, I'm just shocked. I really am shocked. Almost £600 for a 2TB. And I know it's limited edition. But the Series X console, the base one, should be £400 now. Not $100. It's pretty awful, and it's pretty thing. But we saw some comments down below. What else does Jess say? With games hitting a maximum of $80 later in the year, Microsoft sources confirmed to me that games will still be priced on a scale to reflect their scope, as is the case today. So variable pricing. If the game is a smaller game, AA game, it will be $50. But expect the bigger Call of Duty games to max that tier of $80. That's basically what they're saying. I mean, I appreciate the $50 games because that's really how it should be. But here, Xbox has been faced with questions along the lines of why own an Xbox when major games like Forza Horizon 5 are now available on PS5, with absolutely zero likelihood that PlayStation reciprocates by putting its own games on Xbox. Up until now, at least, you could point to hardware value, but that option has gone out of the window as well. Microsoft is hoping things like Xbox Play Anywhere, as accessing your games via xCloud, and the value add from Game Pass will help it in the game. It certainly kept me around. Even with Microsoft first-party games hitting $80, at the very least they come with a guarantee of a PC code as well, thanks to Play Anywhere XPA, which is generally something that would cost anywhere up to $160 to accomplish from other publishers. No matter how you look at this, it's just bad. I understand costs are maybe going up for Microsoft, though they did just report that 30% of their software development this past year was done by AI. That implies a big cost saving. So they've even had cost saving. Now obviously a business is there to make money, but come on, this is starting to border on the level of greed now. Global tariffs and most likely the price of games digitally will increase too. Like, why would digital games increase? Digital games have no reason to increase with tariffs. I don't think we'll see much complaining, these people, and it just continues in this vein. I don't know. I think this is utterly shameful of Xbox. I don't think they should have increased their price. I think they had an easy win. They had a situation where they could easily have just taken the high ground, even if it is until 2026, just to see what's going to happen. If you can hear my cat, I do apologize. But as of right now, this is it, folks. This could, I don't know, this just looks like if things are going to continue in this vein, the next generation consoles are going to be so expensive. I don't believe that, I genuinely believe that it's going to price out at least a third of the gaming community. And that's saying something, right? Because companies need that third in order to sell their games. But if you're pricing people out of the industry, who are you actually making your games for, and what sales numbers are you really expecting? I don't know, folks. You let me know in the comment section below. If you've made it this far, do hit that like button, subscribe, hit that bell to stay up to date with all content I release. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me further, you can do that through my super thanks directly under the video, or by becoming a YouTube member. Of course, if you want to interact with me further, you can do that via my Discord or social media. You can find all of the links in the description below. Right, folks, that's the video. I hope you've enjoyed this. Until next time, Peace out.